So in this video, I'm going to show you how to start a private soccer training business while working a full-time job. A 5-step roadmap to turn this from a side hustle to an actual business. Now, you don't need to quit your job to make $5,000 to $10,000 a month. You want to build your business first and then earn the option to leave. Now, if you're new to the channel, all we do around here is talk about building a 6-figure soccer training business. Now, in case we haven't quite met yet, my name is Mo, and we built our soccer training business Player Incubator from 0 to 20K a month in profits here in New York. And during that time, we've been able to gain over 200,000 followers across Instagram and TikTok. Since then, we've helped more than 100 private soccer coaches do the same, and we've been there and we've done it across multiple different sports, so we got you covered. Now, there are no income claims or earning potentials because at the end of the day, this is a YouTube video, my friend, and we have no clue who you are, what you're capable of, or whether you have any probability to go out there and make this happen for yourself. Because according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, there's less than a 10% probability of ever making 100K a year, let alone a small probability of making $10,000 a month and building yourself to a business where it's actually profiting that every single month. Now, the 5-step roadmap I'm about to talk to you about is very, very simple. The first principles, the old school way, the new school way, the transition from your job to going full-time, and obviously scaling your business going forward. So going to step number 1, we want to think about first principles thinking. This is the idea of breaking down a problem to the most basic facts and then building your solution from there. Meaning, you want to ask yourself, like, what would have to be true in order for us to make this a $5,000, a $10,000 private training business? Like, what would have to be true for us to make that amount of money? Now, first, what we want to do is pick a monthly goal. So for yourself, pick a monthly goal that you want to hit. So let's say you want to hit $5,000 a month. Now from there, ask yourself, what has to be true in order for me to make $5,000 a month? Well, the equation is very simple. The number of clients times the amount of money you make per customer per month equals $5,000. You have to know your math, right? So in this case, let's say you're charging $75 for a one-on-one session. That's your price point. And assuming they see you once a week, that's 4 times per month, that means every client is worth $300 to you, right? And at the end of the day, in order for us to go from where we are to hitting our first $5,000 a month, that means we have to do 5,000 divided by $300. That's about 16.7 clients. Meaning your target right now is to have 17 clients paying you $75 a session once a week, right? And as a result, you hit that 5K a month goal, which means to make it easy, you need 17 sessions per week, which is around 2 or 3 sessions per day. And that way you can go ahead and add that extra 5K to your monthly income. Now you can do that while still working full time because let's be honest, kids are still in school from like 8 a.m. to like 3 p.m. So the only times you can really do your sessions is from 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and so on and so forth. So if you work a 9 to 5, you can do a session from 6 to 7, 7 to 8, and be able to hit that 5K a month, assuming you're charging a measly $75, which is like the minimum price point you should be charging for private training lessons. Now, the second step is the old school strategy. So you want to use what you have, meaning your network, right? You want to go ahead and start with people who you already know. This is like the warmest market that you have. You want to go ahead and max out the reach outs to players that you know who might be interested. You want to reach out to parents, friends and family who have kids, and then obviously other coaches who might be able to refer you some private training clients. And as a result, you want to go ahead and tap out this market, whether it's doing calls, so cold calling people, texting people, and asking for referrals in person. You want to let people know that you're offering private training lessons. That way you can get the word of mouth, at least playing in your favor. Now, once you do that, your first goal is going to be typically to get 3 to 5 paying clients. Now, you want to do that to create some proof, make some content, and start asking for referrals. And then from there, once you have the initial base of 3 or 4 clients, you want to go ahead and go into step number 3, which is a new school way of attracting clients. This is something that I hold near and dear to my heart because after working with over 100 clients, this is what actually works, right? So I've tried the referrals, I've tried the word of mouth, I've tried, cold calling friends and family. It's awesome. It got me my first 4 or 5 clients, but it didn't actually move the needle forward, right? You want to be able to go ahead and have a system that every single day you wake up, you're getting leads coming to you every single day like clockwork. So to build a predictable acquisition system, we're going to use Instagram page and Instagram ads. Now, your Instagram page will let people know, like, and trust you, while your Instagram ads will get people to find out you exist, right? So you want to build your personal brand on Instagram and let people know who you are, why they should trust you, and where you train. Because some people, want to build this business, but they're not on Instagram. And just like in any other business, if you're not on Instagram, if you're not on social media, then you probably don't exist, right? Because most parents nowadays make decisions based on what they see on social media before they ever decide to reach out to you, before they ever actually book a session with you, so on and so forth. Now, you want to post 20 to 30 pieces of content because you want to make your page look alive before you advertise. Like, you can have the best ad in the world, but if they come to your page and your page is like 2 followers or 2 posts, then it doesn't look like you're a legit coach. It doesn't look like you have any clients, and it just looks like you're running a side hustle, right? Which in reality you are, but for the purpose of this video, you want to make sure that when they land on your page, they see you as a professional coach. Now, once you have that, you want to build trust before the first conversation, meaning you want to put training clips, drills, results, testimonials, and your coaching philosophy all over your page. These can be drills that you're filming of the first 3 to 4 clients that you have. These can be results that they got, testimonials from parents, testimonials from players, and kind of like fill your page with at least 20 to 30 pieces of content before you go ahead and start those Instagram ads. Now, the ads are basically going to target parents of soccer players whose kids want soccer lessons, who live in a 5 to 10 mile radius of wherever you're based. So for example, I was on a call with somebody just now before this actually, and he's in Fort Myers. And in Fort Myers, the market is solid and there's a ton of parents, but he can't reach them because he's trying to go viral on Instagram. The goal is not to go viral. The goal is not to be this dancing monkey who's trying to get as many views as possible, because at the end of the day, even if you do go viral and you get 1 million views on a video, it hits everybody but who you want. Meaning, you get 1 million views, it gets shown to people in Pakistan, India, all over the world, but when in reality, you only want people in Fort Myers, Florida, who can actually come to your private training lessons, right? So the ads will locally target those, that radius of 3 to 5 miles, 5, 10 miles, depending on what you set it to. And once your ad is running, you will get roughly about 3 to 5 new leads per day. Now, the structure afterwards is really simple. Your Instagram page serves as a baseline to make people know, like, and trust you. Your ad will start getting you leads every single day. So then you'll start a DM conversation. Then we'll go ahead and turn them from a DM to a phone call, meaning we'll follow a certain script to message them back and forth, to ask them about their goals, what they're looking for, how many times a week they're looking to train, and obviously pitching them for the call. On the call, we'll follow a sales script to go ahead and actually collect a deposit, because typically, if you don't collect a deposit of some form, then at the end of the day, the person on the other side will say, yeah, I'll see you 4 o'clock on Thursday. And then Thursday morning comes around, they either ghost you or they cancel last minute. Now, sometimes they'll show up if you don't collect the deposit, but most times you're running the risk. So what you want to do at the end of the calls, after you figure out what they're looking for, their goals, their intentions, everything else in between, you want to ask them for a deposit. Hey, just out of curiosity, would you be against putting a $10 deposit just so I know you're 100% confirmed for the session? Because in the past, we've had a few clients who said one thing, but then ended up no showing last second. And I drove all the way out to the field so I don't make that same mistake twice. Haha. That simple line will let them understand your point of view, and more importantly, be able to collect $10 deposits and then know for a fact that they're going to show up, right? And if they don't pay you the deposit, then you knew they were going to show up in the first place. $10 is not the end all be all. So if they're not willing to pay you a $10 deposit, then that means your phone call sucked, or they don't trust you, or they're just, a tire kick, you're wasting your time. After the phone call, obviously collect the deposit. Then we set up the first session. Now, very, very important. The second you confirm the session, send a Google invite, a reminder, and then 24 hours, 12 hours, and 3 hours before the session, make sure that you remind them that the session is coming up. On the first session, we want to go ahead and sell them into the package. Now, the package is very important because if they really enjoyed your first session, at the end of the session, you want to have a conversation with them. You want to clarify why they're there, label them with the problem based on the session that you had, diagnose like a doctor everything you saw in the session as the assessment, and explain to the parent like, hey, these are the things that your daughter or your son needs to work on in order to go from where they are to where they want to be. And set yourself as a bridge between those 2 points. So clarify why they're there, label them with a problem, overview what they've done to solve the problem, like, hey, what have you guys tried so far? Yeah, you tried YouTube videos, you tried other private trainers, why didn't it work for you? What could have been better? Figure out those points, and then obviously sell them into your solution. So ideally, a 12-week package that helps them go from where they are, solving their biggest problems to get them where they want to be, and as a result, being able to achieve the overarching goal that every player or parent has set for their family. right? It can be to improve their weak foot. It can be to become the best player on their team. It can be to improve their confidence. It can purely be anything that they want, but make the pitch specific to what the parent actually cares about, what the player actually cares about just as much. Because at the end of the day, there's a two-way conversation. You want to make sure the kid likes you, and then afterwards, you want to make sure the parents are actually, in the same sort of journey with you. Now, if they can't afford the package, we will downsell them. Meaning, if they don't have, let's say you're doing $75 package and $75 sessions, but then like if they buy a 12 pack, it's like $70. So they save $5 per session. 70 times 12 is $840. And if they can't afford the $840, you can do two things. You can say, hey, listen, totally understand, but seems like you guys are definitely looking to, improve your child's performance. So what we can do is get you guys on a smaller membership where it's like a month-to-month commitment, and then you can cancel anytime. Now, when you do that, what you're basically saying is like, listen, I know you can't afford this, but you still want to be committed to a certain degree. So let's get you guys on a monthly membership. That way we know what our schedule is set every single week. And then as a result, they can go ahead and either upgrade to a package down the line or just continue month to month. But what you don't want to do is kind of like, just say, yeah, I'll see you next week. Hopefully you come through and hopefully it works out. You don't want to do session by session payments, because sometimes what's going to happen is like people will say one thing on the actual first session, but then they'll never actually show up. You want to have the ability to offer these points. Even if they don't buy it, at least you have the option to offer them. So there is a way to sell them on the package and being able to convert them into that with a certain specific strategy that we use for our paying clients. But if you want more information on that, click the first link in the description below to book a call with our team to see how we can implement this exact same system into your business. But for the sake of this purpose of this video, I want to go into not too many details, if that makes sense. And then that being said, you want to go ahead and do the monthly memberships, because you don't want to start every month with drop-in sessions that are very unpredictable. Meaning you don't want to start every month at $0 every single month. You want to know what you're going to get paid week after week, month after month. And you want to know that your clients are committed, because if they are committed, they'll get better results. Like, this better than I do. The clients who show up week after week will actually get better results and send you referrals, and they really enjoy the process with you because they're committed to the process. So as the coach, you have to be able to hold their hand and help them make a decision to commit. And if they pay you a package, guess what happens? They get a discount, their child gets better results, and you just have to show them that them going on a session to session basis means they're purely just burning money, and that they're not really going to see the results that they're here for. So what I like to do, after getting so many clients for the private training in here in New York, what I would do at a certain point is like, listen, if you're going to go on a drop-in session by session basis, we won't work with your child or your son or daughter, because at the end of the day, they won't get results. And I don't want you to burn your money, come to these sessions and not get the results that you're here for, rather than just committing to a package, seeing the result in 12 weeks, and then being able to see if you want to continue working with us. Because at the end of the day, I actually care about all my clients. I want to make sure that you guys are actually following the program, because let's be honest, you can come in once a week or once a month or being inconsistent with your sessions and not get the results. And at the end of the day, it'll be my fault and you'll have a bad experience with us. So therefore, if you don't want to do the package, totally cool. I'll send you a referral. You can work with somebody else who might take you guys on, but we run things in the way we actually make sure that clients get amazing results. Super simple. Now, that being said, step number 4 is the transition. Don't quit your job too early. You want to keep the paycheck until the math earns the move, right? You want to make sure that your job, like the money that you're making from your job, matches your income from your private training for at least 3 months, right? So for example, if your job pays you $4,000 a month right now, you want to make sure that your private training business at least makes $4,000 a month. And then you have to ask yourself, like, if I had an extra 40 hours per week that I'm, investing back into the business, how much bigger would my business be? Also, keep in mind, sometimes it might just be where it's at, because at the end of the day, if you can't coach clients in the morning, you might as well keep your job, right? So it's just a preference in terms of like where you're at in life and kind of like what you want to experience in life. In the beginning, for me, I was working a Crunch Fitness job, like a front desk job at Crunch Fitness, which is like a local gym here. And I just wanted to make as much money as possible, because I was like, hey, I just want to stack as much bread. I have no responsibilities. I have no family. I have no wife. I have no kids. So I just want to stack as much bread as possible. For you, it might just be to purely run a lifestyle business, or you might be just like me and you just want super hungry to make as much money as possible. Well, that's totally cool too. So what you want to do is figure out what your dream life looks like. Do you just want to coach 2-3 hours a day, make $10K a month? Or do you want to go ahead and have 2 jobs and double down, Like, it's totally up to you how you want to run this. But at the end of the day, you want to ask yourself, if I had the extra 40 hours that I'm investing into my job and I put that back into the business, how much bigger would my business be? Now, once you get those hours back, you want to reinvest those hours back into the business. A lot of people I speak to and some of our clients, they quit their job because their business starts making 5, 6, 7, 8, 9K a month, and then they don't do anything with the hours they got back. Like, they literally just quit their job and they just lost income that they were getting in. Yes, at the end of the day, lifestyle is important too, so you don't be working 24/7. But if you're going to quit your job, you want to reinvest those hours back into the business, meaning having more sessions to increase capacity, filming more content to get more attention, taking more calls to make more sales, and then building more systems that you can have leverage, right? You just removed your biggest constraint, which is your time. Now, don't just, watch Netflix all day. You want to reinvest that hour back into some form of leverage or some form of productive activity. You want to focus on something called more, better, and new. This is the easiest framework to grow any company. Now, the framework is very simple. Do more of what works, then do it better, improve what's working, and then obviously test something new. But you don't want to go to new just quite yet. You want to focus on more and maximizing more of what you're currently doing. Now, more is basically what is already working, like the ads, they're working, awesome. You asking for referrals gets you more clients, awesome. You making more content, build your brand, awesome. So let's do more of what's already working. So if we do more of this, we'll make more money, right? Now, better is basically like, how can we improve what's currently working? So we can go ahead and create better ads. We can create better content. We can make better sales systems in place. We can have better lessons in terms of the delivery side of things. And as a result, we'll make more money if we do those things. And then new is basically something that you will only do after you've maximized more and better, right? So you can create a new offer, whether it's in-person coaching, online coaching, it can be, at-home game analysis, Zoom calls for mental performance, like new offers that you can add to your current existing, private trading business. So this is what allowed us to scale faster than the average coach, because we were able to go ahead and offer online coaching where they can, work 6 days a week, where they don't see us on the field, they can work online with us. And we made more money off of that than obviously the in-person, because with the online side of things, we can scale that further. But the point is, only do new after you maximize your more and better, because to create something new, it takes more time, there's more risk, and it's uncertain if it's going to work for you. New creatives, new partners, new channels, if you want to create that. Don't chase new things every week. Most coaches abandon working strategies too early, meaning if something is working, just do more. If your ads are working for you, do more ads. If the ads are stagnant, make them better, so on and so forth. Now, the 5-step roadmap is very simple. You got the first principles. What would need to be true in order for us to make X amount of money? The old school way, referrals, word of mouth, cold calling friends and family, handing out flyers, maximize that. Then go ahead and start the new school, which is setting up your Instagram page, using your first few clients to set up your Instagram page to make it a legit thing. And then from there, running ads to get people to find out you exist. Then the transition period, which is basically, when is the right time to quit my job? It is person to person. So for you, it might be, hey, I want to make 10K a month before I quit my job. Totally cool. Some people want to make, 4K a month and they want to just coach soccer and make 1K a week and be able to do that full time, working 2 hours a day and watch Netflix for the remaining day. That's cool too. So it just depends on what your goals are for the transition year period. And then obviously in terms of scaling your business, more, better, and then new. So do more of what's working, do it better, and then create new systems. Whether it's offering online coaching, whether it's bringing on an assistant coach so you guys can handle more clients. I have a coach inside of our program. He basically has 25 assistant coaches right now, and they're printing money hand over fist. And the reason for that is because at the end of the day, if you know the model works, just do more of what's working. If you want to change the model and try to be a little bit smarter, offer online coaching on top of your in-person coaching. But in order for you to make your first 5K a month, your first 10K a month with private training, you can do it as a side hustle. You can do it after work. And you don't have to go ahead and quit your job. Like, we've helped over 100 private soccer coaches in the last 12 months be able to do this. And it wasn't something where it's like rocket science. We set up their Instagram page. We run their winning ads that we've already tested thousands of dollars to see if they will work. And then before we give any ad to a client, we show every client how to measure the leads that are coming in, take the discovery calls, be able to charge for deposit, sell them on the package and the full sales system behind the scenes, and then being able to obviously making sure that everything else is automated on the back end. So if you want to see how we can potentially help you out, hit that first link below. You can see a little training video that goes over the process, the proof, and some of the behind the scenes of all the clients we work with. At this point, we've worked with over 100 guys. So if you're in whatever city, chances are we have a client in your city so you can watch their client success interview. The interviews that we have with each one of our clients is about 20 to 30 minutes long. That way you can see all their ads, all the numbers, all the behind the scenes, and then we actually link their Instagram pages on there. That way you can snoop around, see their Instagram page, and see all the strategies we're implementing for them. Anyways, if you want our help, hit that first link below, book a call with our team, and we'll see you in the next one.